everybody, welcome back to another Vlogtober video. And yes, I'm sitting in my dining room, kind of the place that you have seen. I have just been spending some time in my standard rings planning my day and going over some things. I was updating some stuff in my personal rings, and I was going over what my schedule is going to be for the next couple of days teaching. So I thought in today's episode, or whatever you want to call this, I would answer a few questions that I've gotten in the previous, videos. One thing that is people have liked the videos, and I think that's very nice. I've enjoyed talking with you this way instead of having you just see my hands. But one of the questions that I got is, why am I in rings? Everyone knows me from my love of Traveler's Notebooks, originally starting with the Midori, and then Chic Sparrow and Foxy and Ray Blake and millions of others. Well, not millions, but, at least 20s of 30s of other makers of Traveler's Notebooks. So why rings? I've tried rings before Traveler's Notebooks, and then even in the past few years, I've gone back to rings because I was needing in my planning a little bit more flexibility. And when I say flexibility, it's due to the fact that in a Traveler's Notebook, yes, you can have multiple inserts inside of the notebook, for one for a month, one for weeks, one for days, one for notes, one for work, one for coloring, one for art, one for whatever. I always like to have all of my teaching in one notebook insert, that being weekly, to keep track of my schedule for my students, to keep track of their schedules for recitals and concerts and all that stuff that I would have to attend as a teacher. And also deadlines for grades, deadlines for them for getting letters of recommendations, if they're going to grad school or if they're at the community college and going to be transferring to a 4-year institution. I need a separate place to keep all of that. And that's difficult to keep track of in a Traveler's Notebook insert. And you're thinking, well, what about bullet journaling? Well, I've done that and I've tried it, and I've tried the threading, and it's always, whether, no matter it's my own personal stuff or my teaching, that I've always had an issue with bullet journaling and really tracking the date and time specific things. Unless I'd have like a sticker or a flag, it could get lost. And even in the threading, I would get lost in going back and forth. And and so then I ended up, just tabbing everything. And then if everything's tabbed, nothing's important, nothing sticks out. So that was one reason why I went to the discs. And that was another question I got, why discs? And the reason for the discs is just for that, the flexibility of being able to insert a page where I need it, and then when I don't need it anymore, I can take it out, or if I need to shuffle things around. It was really difficult, because I teach, some of the classes that I teach individually, one-on-one, the professor with the student, and I have to take notes during the lesson about their practice, about their preparation, about some of the areas that I suggest for them to practice, whether we're working on the quality of their tone, whether we're working on intonation, when we're working on their articulation, phrasing. If we come up with an exercise for them in the middle of their lesson, I write it down so I can make sure that they have it and also make sure that I understand what we're doing. So in the next lesson, I can say, okay, how is that exercise going? How is it working for you? And if they say, what exercise? I can say, well, we talked about this in your lesson. And it just keeps, the student moving in a forward motion. And In a traveler's notebook insert, if you have anywhere between 40 to, like, say 80 pages, like if you have Tomoe River or Kikuyu paper, or a really thin paper, you for each individual student, you might leave a certain number of pages. Well, you might not use all of those pages for that student, that semester, that year. But then for another student, you might actually need more than that. And so it was just getting frustrating trying to track all of that. And it was also, it wasn't cost worthy to have, a traveler's notebook insert for each individual student. Depending on the semester, I could need, 12, I could need 18, 25. In some of my biggest semesters, I had 32 students. I can't have a traveler's notebook insert for 32 students. That's, and then how do you fit that into 1, 2, or let alone 3, and really keep track of that? And so that is the reason for the rings, is I can have my calendar. Here's my Peaky Dory Design monthly calendar. And then I can flip to the next tab, and it's the school that I'm teaching at, and I can keep all of the students at that school, their information in this tab. I can keep my grade sheet, I can keep their attendance sheet, I can keep their assignments that they've turned in, I can keep a copy of the syllabus. All of that stuff I can keep in there. And then I can flip to the next tab, and then there's the other school, and then after that is private students that I'm getting ready for college auditions, or for all state or all district. So I needed something that was customizable, and that was really something that I could do with it what I needed. So that's why rings, that's why disc. And I got some really rude questions or comments about the rings, about why would I go to a system that has and someone said something about cheap pens, about plastic that's creating more waste, and all of this. So there's and how they liked the Traveler's Notebook better because of the character and age, and I love the way a Traveler's Notebook looks after it's been used. I mean, my original brown passport and my standard Midori, they actually say Midori. I've had them since 2013. Those are the those two and a couple of Chic Sparrows are the only ones I would keep. I'd get rid of every other one I had, and I would be fine with that, except for those like 4, maybe 5 notebooks. And I also have a conflict with using something that is an animal hide. I do. I mean, this is a beautiful piece of leather. It smells amazing, but also one thing people need to realize, what we smell, that isn't the animal. That's the conditioner. That's the dye. That's all of that stuff that they've treated it with. If you were to actually look at the way leather was produced, it actually, like in the old days before some modern manufacturing, they would actually use urine in order to, make sure that the leather was soft and flexible. That doesn't smell very pretty. And, I mean, whether you get the material, the hide, the animal hide, from something that is, from the food industry, or for something that is just made, like there are companies that make leather items that they just have animals that they kill in order to make that item, whatever it may be. And, that, I don't know if that's any better than plastic production. If, especially the comment about like cheap pens, like these pens here, I buy refills for them. Yes, I know it's not like having a fountain pen, but fountain pens have plastic parts. Fountain pens have metal parts. They've got little O-rings in them that you use petroleum jellies with. That's plastics right there, or stuff that's used to make plastic. So those, whether it's leather industry, metal, or plastic, they all have a problem that we as a world need to think about. And all of them, everything we buy, everything produces some sort of waste. And that waste can be chemical, meaning liquid or smoke, or radiation, and that goes into the world. It goes into the ground, it goes into the food, it goes into everything that we eat. So for someone to say that having something leather is better than having something that's plastic, technically isn't. My husband is a vegan, and it's something that he does because he wants to do no harm to others. And he always has this dilemma when it comes to honey, because so many people say, well, have agave, have agave, have agave. Well, there's millions of bees that die because we've been overproducing agave and taking the food that they would eat. So there's so many issues around the and it's something that I've researched. So it's not that I'm being willy-nilly with using plastics. I mean, I'm going to have these rings and they're going to last me a long time. I got larger ones for when I need them. And then I have the original ones. So I find it very interesting that people will go to someone's YouTube channel and not really say anything constructive, but then just leave a comment that, oh, well, that's my opinion. That's great that that's your opinion, but was it necessary to share? I know you're getting a piece of John that you normally don't see, and it's because I'm just frustrated with lots of stuff this year. This year, like everybody knows, has been a pile of doggy poop. And I pick up piles of doggy poop every day because of Seamus. And just even this evening, I'm not going to go into it because, diatribe. So there's your answer. So what I did to that person is I pinned in the video their comment at the top and then my response. And usually what I do is I just delete those type of like Sam said, snarky comments. She's like, I will just delete you. And I'm going to pin you. If you leave a snarky comment, I'm going to pin it and pin my response and let people see. And then we'll see if I delete it or not. But it's always someone that's not using like a face to like the name. It's just like some Charlie or like some random numbers. And then it makes you think, is that some bot out there trying to do whatever? So there you go. You heard my long, not so short-winded response about that. So, breathe in love, breathe out compassion. Someone wanted to see like a day in the life. I'm thinking of doing that next week because we have symphony rehearsals and a symphony concert. I'm thinking of taking one of my old iPhones that we keep as a backup and using that device to take some video footage for a day in the life. Normally my days aren't that exciting right now because I wake up, we'll take the dog out, feed the animals, have some coffee, check email, have some breakfast, maybe walk on the treadmill if I'm feeling like it with my back still a little not so good. That's not happening this week. I need to save all of my energy for the symphony concert next week. I don't want to injure myself more to make things worse. So, and then I teach here in this room, or I work on projects in this room, or I do art in this room, or this is the dining room, so it's where we eat. We have a small kitchen that doesn't have space for a table. So a day in the life right now isn't that very exciting. I teach all afternoon, do some practice, film a little video. That's kind of it. So, and with everything kind of not really being open, anyways, so there's that. Someone asked me a question regarding inserts, and I thought this was interesting. They asked, why am I always making my inserts or buying inserts or not actually purchasing a finished insert product from someone? I've bought inserts from people before. I've bought Midori or Traveler's Company, or I've bought some from Penguin, what's it? Paper Penguin Co. I bought some from Yellow Paper House. I bought some from Mole's mom years ago. And if you've been around since 2013, she's in England or in Great Britain, and I had some really nice inserts from her that were hand stitched. I bought some inserts from Monique. I'm trying to think. I think that's probably about it. And then a couple of like Mo terms or some notebooks that have come with inserts I've used. And I did buy one from Bree, which I'm still working on. It's a field note size that has art paper in it, and it's wonderful. I would buy Bree's inserts out of all of the others that I have. And I think one of the reasons why I don't buy many inserts, like hers are wonderful for arting, for journaling, beautiful inserts. That's Breeze at Documented Journey. She makes them in all sizes with really great paper, so go look there. But when I first got my Traveler's Notebook in 2013, my Passport and then my Standard, Midori was kind of hard to find and expensive, and not many people were making those sizes. The first thing that was kind of mass-produced was, Moleskine. They came out with the chapters, and one of them is, kind of standard Midori size, but not really. And it didn't. It had a Coptic stitch binding. It didn't have a binding that works well in a traveler's notebook. So they were hard to find, and they were actually quite expensive. So I went to places like DIY Fish on Etsy, Marsha Bramucci on Etsy, Ray Blake had, at that time, and still does, lots of sizes of traveler's notebook insert digitals that you can purchase and print. And then there were a couple of other people on Etsy that I tried some of their inserts, and because I knew how to use my computer and I knew how to use not that printer, I had a really nice brother that I finally wore out making my own inserts, Peaky Dory Design. So I was so used to having to make them myself that I hardly ever buy inserts from someone. One of the reasons is, I can make it. I don't need someone else to do that. I don't have to deal with shipping. If it's like a digital that's undated and it's a insert that I like, I can print it over and over and over again. If there's a couple of sizes that are kind of close, like if I've got something in personal, I can print it to be standard size. If it's standard, I can print it to be personal size. B6, A6, there's a conversion rate where you can get those to be about the same size. Passport and field note size, they're the same width, just the height is a little bit different, so you can, modify how you cut them down. Let's see. So I've always made my own just because it was, at that time it was easier. And then since I was making my own, I invested in, higher quality tools. And it really, it was just, with the exception of Breeze and Monique's, I like the quality, other than theirs. Theirs are fantastic. But with all of the others I bought, I liked the inserts that I made better than the ones that I received. And I remember Jennifer Harvey saying when she bought like a Midori. Now we can all admit the Midori leather is nice leather, but it's not the highest grade of leather. It's not. There's something about it that's incredibly nostalgic feeling, and I love my browns. I would never get rid of them. I could go without the camels and my blues and my olives and even the ones from the Narita airport I have, and even the train station. Because the gold peels off. I could get rid of those and I'd be fine with just my two. But it's not the highest grade of leather. This leather, that my standard rings is in is a higher grade of leather than the Midori. Like the majority of the leathers that Shakespeare and others have, they're a higher grade of leather. So, I just decided, make my own inserts because it's just easier for me. And also with digital downloads, if you mess up your page, you can reprint that page, cut it down, and insert it. Or say you go to a different size, you can, print one of those inserts and tip it in. So there's just so many reasons why I've always done digital downloads. And yeah, so that's kind of where we are today. It's been an interesting day for sure. I've been busy teaching. We were at the laundromat doing laundry, doing projects around the house. Back still not doing well. And tomorrow's, I think, my longest teaching day. I've got 4 consecutive hours of individual lessons from 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock. So that makes for a long day, and so much energy goes into those. And especially now that we're dealing with, private lessons music-wise with the internet, with delays and audio issues and all that, it makes the job that much more taxing, that much more demanding. If you think you and your children are having trouble or anxiety or frustration with like a history class or a math class or an English class, just imagine a music class trying to do that through a device like this. It's quite a challenge. So there we are. I don't know if I answered any questions, if I, but those are just thoughts that I've been having today, and that's what vlogs are. So I'm going to leave it there. I will definitely be back tomorrow. If you have any questions that you want asked, I can do like a Q&A. These are just some that I saw people mention over the last few days. And, there's no need for snarkiness, and everybody has their own favorite maker, and my favorite maker may not be yours, and yours may not be mine. And because there's so many, that is what is so wonderful about it. People might not like this nude leather. That's fine. People might like this. That's fine. People might like everything to be monochromatic, black and white. And that's fine. That's why we have so many makers. Every maker brings something unique to the, what's the word I'm looking for? Every unique, you make, we're going to leave that in because I'm not going to edit this. Every maker brings something unique to the market. And, if you like it, you buy it. If you don't, you don't. And that's kind of where I am. So you probably have more questions than I have answered for you. So if you're new, hi, I'm John. You normally don't see my face, and you normally don't hear me talk like this. It's usually like, hey, look at this. Okay, if you like it, get it. If you don't. I ain't telling you what to do. And that's the truth. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not telling you what to spend your money on. I'm just saying this is what I bought and this is what I think of it. And again, like the other person said, that's my opinion. You can leave it, give it, you can leave it, you can take it, whatever you want to with it. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye.